Section 8. Installation of Cathodic Protection Systems. 8.1. Introduction. This section delineates procedures for the setup of CP systems. 8.2. Construction specifications. All construction activities on CP systems should be executed in accordance with design drawings and specifications provided for construction. The construction specifications should conform to sections 4 and 7. 8.3. Construction oversight. 8.3.1. All construction work on CP systems should be carried out under the guidance of a qualified individual based on training and/or experience to ascertain that the installation adheres to the drawings and specifications. Deviations may only be made with appropriate authorization. 8.3.2. All departures from construction drawings and specifications should be recorded on as-built drawings. 8.4. Galvanic anode systems. 8.4.1. Inspection, handling, and storage. 8.4.1.1. Packaged anodes should be examined and measures taken to guarantee that backfill material completely envelops the anode. The individual container for the backfill material and anode should be undamaged. If individually packaged anodes are supplied in waterproof containers, the containers must be extracted before installation. Packaged anodes should be maintained in a dry condition during storage. 8.4.1.2. The lead wire must be firmly attached to the anode. The lead wire should be scrutinized to ensure it is not damaged. 8.4.1.3. Other galvanic anodes, such as the unpackaged bracelet or ribbon type, should be inspected to ensure that dimensions match design specifications and that any damage during handling does not impact application. If a coating is employed on bands and the inner side of bracelet anode segments, it must be examined and, if impaired, repaired before the anodes are installed. 8.4.2 Installation. 8.4.2.1. Anodes should be installed according to construction drawings and specifications. As-built documentation of the installation should be preserved for use in subsequent maintenance, repairs, and replacements. 8.4.2.2. Packaged galvanic anodes shall be backfilled with suitably compacted material. When anodes and special chemical backfill are furnished separately, anodes should be centered in the special backfill, which should be compacted before backfilling. Ensure that lead wires and connections are not harmed. Adequate slack should be present in lead wires to prevent strain. 8.4.2.3. When anodes in bracelet form are utilized, the external pipe coating beneath the anode should be examined prior to bracelet installation to confirm that it is free of holidays. Avert damage to the external coating when bracelet anodes are installed. After the application of concrete, if used, to the pipe, all concrete should be removed from the anode surface. If reinforced concrete is employed, there must be no metallic contact between the anode and the reinforcing mesh, or between the reinforcing mesh and the pipe. 8.4.2.4. When a ribbon-type anode is employed, it is typically trenched or plowed in, with or without special chemical backfill, generally parallel to the section of pipeline to be protected. 8.5. Impressed current systems. 8.5.1. Inspection, handling, and storage. 8.5.1.1. The transformer rectifier or other DC power source should be examined by qualified personnel to guarantee that internal connections are mechanically secure and that the unit is free of damage and conforms to specifications. The rating of the power source shall comply with the construction specification. The power source connection shall comply with local code requirements and must be inspected for conformance to specifications. 8.5.1.2. Impressed current anodes are inspected for conformance to specifications concerning anode material, size, length of lead cable, anode lead connection, and integrity of the seal. Avoid cracking or damaging anodes during handling. 8.5.1. 3. All cables must be meticulously inspected to detect defects in insulation. Avoid damage to cable insulation. Defects in the cable insulation must be repaired using an approved material and technique. 8.5.1.4. Anode backfill material must conform to specifications. 8.5.1.5. When storage is necessary, all materials must be appropriately stored. The environmental effects of UV damage or weather damage, e.g., freezing, etc., must be considered. 8.5.2 Installation. 8.5.2.1 A transformer rectifier or other DC power source should be positioned and installed to minimize the potential for damage and vandalism. 8.5.2.2 Wiring to transformer rectifiers shall comply with applicable codes, standards, and requirements. For safety, an external disconnect switch shall be provided in the AC circuit, and the disconnect switch and transformer rectifier case shall be properly grounded. 8.5.2.3 On thermoelectric generators, a reverse current device shall be installed to prevent galvanic action between the anode and the pipe if the flame is extinguished. 8.5.2.4 Impressed current anodes can be installed vertically, horizontally, or in deep holes. See NAICS SP0572 as indicated in construction specifications. Backfill material should be installed to ensure that there are no voids around anodes and to avoid damage to the anodes and cables. 8.5.2.5 The cable from the transformer rectifier negative terminal to the pipe is connected to the pipe as described in paragraph 8.6. The insulation on cathodic protection cables to be installed underground should be suitable for direct burial. Cable connections to the transformer rectifier must be mechanically secure and electrically conductive. Before the power source is energized, it must be verified that the negative cable is connected to the structure to be protected and that the positive cable is connected to the anodes. Measurements shall be made to verify that these connections are correct, such as determining that a negative potential shift has occurred on the structure being protected as a result of energizing the DC power source. 8.5.2.6 Underground splices on the positive header cable to the anode bed should be kept to a minimum. Connections between the header and anode cables must be mechanically secure and electrically conductive. If underground or submerged, these connections must be sealed to prevent moisture penetration to ensure electrical isolation from the environment. 8.5.2.7 During the installation of direct burial anode leads and positive header cable, avoid damage to insulation. Sufficient slack should be left to prevent strain on all cables. Backfill material around the cable should be free of rocks and foreign matter that might cause damage to the insulation when the cable is installed in a trench. The cable can be installed by plowing or directional drilling with precautions to prevent damage. 8.5.2.8 If insulation integrity on the underground or submerged header cable, including splices, is not maintained, this cable can fail due to corrosion. 8.6 Corrosion control. Test stations, connections, and bonds. 8.6.1 Pipe and test lead wires shall be clean, dry, and free of foreign materials at connection points when the connections are made. Connections of cables and test lead wires to the pipe must be installed so they remain mechanically secure and electrically conductive. 8.6.2 All underground or submerged cables and lead wire attachments shall be coated with an electrically isolating material that is compatible with the pipe surface, external pipe coating, copper wire, weld material, wire insulation, and the environment. 8.6.3 Suitably sized test lead wires shall be color-coded or otherwise permanently identified. 8.6.3.1 Wires should be installed with slack to avoid mechanical stress damage during backfilling. Damage to insulation shall be avoided and repairs made if damage occurs. 8.6.3.2 Test leads should not be exposed to excessive heat or sunlight. 8.6.3.3 Above ground or flush to ground test stations may be used as applicable. If test stations are flush with the ground, adequate slack in the test leads shall be provided within the test station to facilitate CP measurements. Flush-mounted test stations should be surrounded by stable material such as asphalt, concrete, etc. to prevent damage and to enhance detection and identification. 8.6.4 Cable connections at bonds to other structures or across isolating joints shall be mechanically secure, electrically conductive, and suitably coated. Where feasible, bonds between structures or across isolation fittings should be made in above-ground test stations to facilitate testing and maintenance. 8.6.5 refer to NAC SP0104 and NAC SP21424 for guidance on installing CP coupon test stations. 8.7 Electrical isolation: inspect and test electrical isolation devices to ensure that isolation is effective. See NAC SP0286.